This is Providence Television International, the game changer.
Welcome to the program, Issues in the News on Providence Television International. I am Ogbebo Ikekwa. We have quite some trending issues, and to discuss these issues with me in the studio is the chairman of your favorite station, Dr. Emmanuel Igariva. You're welcome to the studio.
Well, thank you very much. It's also very wonderful to connect with the audience, both at home and all over the world. It's all about passion, really. I'm really very enthused about this. But let me just quickly say that there have been few disasters here and there arising from floods. In Edo State, for instance, the last couple of days, we've not had too much torrents of rain. Some cheery news. But let's go into the main body of what we have.
Yes, and on the main body, on the issues trending in the news, we'll be starting off with this issue as regards flood. Let us go down to Kebbi State, where we have over 200 households rendered homeless following devastating flood in Kebbi State.
Well, we used to think that the northern parts of the country are free from all these problems. When I was growing up, I only knew of Sokoto State, for instance. But we are hearing things in Kebbi, in Kaduna, and all of that, which is a sad point, really, in our national life. 200 households. That means we might be talking about over 1,000, if not more, of people who have been rendered homeless. And I believe that this is an emergency situation. We've been battered on too many fronts, really, in this country. And this is one of them. Nimet, incidentally, has been talking about this, that there will be floods in many parts of the country. I'm sure Kebbi is one of them. They talked about coastal states like Rivers, Delta, and all of that. We are very close to Delta here, and I hope that people around Sapele, Warri, Burutu will be wary of some of these issues. And I believe that, yes, government should just be on its toes. Governments across the country, really. No state, now we can talk about isolation. No state is really isolated from all of these problems, even though Nimet is talking about this. Weather is very unpredictable, okay? So we must be on our toes to be sure that we don't have disasters anymore. And one of the ways I think we can do this is to enlighten the people possibly, particularly those who are in lowlands. Let them move to the uplands. Ilushi, for instance, in Edo State, is a lowland, but when the rains come heavily like this, people are usually affected in a very bad way. So government should step up its enlightenment programs so that people should move as quickly as possible to uplands when rains are falling in torrents.
Okay. This issue, I thank God that you brought it. This issue about movement from lowlands to the uplands. How feasible is that? You just wake up and you tell some people to leave their homes and all that and move to the uplands. Where exactly in the uplands?
Uplands here, well, they have, they can, again, government comes in strongly on that. They can have tents, for instance, temporary tents that can accommodate them. Because you see, when disaster comes, you lose many things. You lose households, lives are lost, properties are lost, and farmlands are even damaged. I mean, I keep talking about Ilushi. Ilushi, for instance, is on the Niger, okay? And when these things come down very heavily, when these torrents come down very heavily, or perhaps the Niger overflows its banks, there are problems. Obviously, there are problems. And ecologists will tell you, for instance, that it is better to move them up, even though it's inconveniencing. It is better to move these people up. When the tide is low, then you can come back to where you were, ab initio. I think that's one of the ways by which you can tackle these problems.
All right, let's look at the issue of drainage systems. It seems to be a very serious problem. Once it rains, because the drainage systems are blocked, and then you have flooding.
Yes, I've talked about this repeatedly on this program, on some other programs on this station. People are just recalcitrant because they know the dangers. It's not that they don't know the dangers involved in all of this, for instance. I mean, if you block the drains, chances are that the water will flow into your compound I mean, in any case, water must find its level. Right, when the drains are blocked, then you have problems with your environment. And environmentalists will also tell you this, that yes, sometimes nothing is spared. We had the story of Selu the other day, when vehicles were moved by floods. Vehicles were moved from their position into some other positions. So I think that, yes, it's a very serious problem, and we are usually forewarned. We are usually forewarned. But people take these things for granted. The advisory usually is that, yes, rains will be falling. We take weather reports on a daily basis, and we warn the people. It is not for the NIMET alone to tell us. Government should collaborate, and I think this is the duty of National Orientation Agency, okay, to psych up the people. Rainy seasons will come and go, but when they come, sometimes it can be terrible. It can be terrible on our households, on our properties and things like that. So that's why it is good for us to, and I said it also the other day, that we must create room for operatives, necessary operatives, to watch out. Usually people dump all sort of things at night in the drains when nobody is watching. But if we put people in check and you employ people to go around, we know the flash points, okay? Usually we do, and these flashpoints are very vulnerable. People dump all sorts of things, particularly now that we have the maize season with us, the chaffs and things like that. They just dump them, and these things block the drains, and water must find a way. Yes, that's what happens. But if the drains are free, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. A place like Sapele, for instance, it is not particularly vulnerable because I think the erosion problems in Sapele are not too heavy. Okay. But look at Warri, for instance, and look at Burutu. Yes, these are very vulnerable areas, even though government is doing one or two things in those places. But in the Delta area, the Kwale area, for instance, you have this problem. There are more coastal areas in Delta than in Edo State, even though we are next door neighbors. Okay, we have heavy floods down at Lushi and all of that. But yes, the floods we have in Benin, for instance, are generated by blocked drains.
Blocked drains.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And so you think that the government, first of all, coming down to Edo State now, because it could happen to anyone at any time. It doesn't really give any warning. We've had quite some reports in the past week or two about areas in Benin that are prone to flooding. But up until now, nothing seems to have been done as regards those areas.
Yes, again, two things. First of all, the people themselves. Okay. It's like they do it deliberately. And then secondly, government must create a template for this water to find this bearing quite regularly. I mean, look at Uselu, for instance. The area has always been there. Okay? Maybe it's even getting worse now. And there are many other areas. I mean, we carried something in the news the other day where some people cried out that they could not access their homes.
At the GRA axis?
Yes, even the GRA. Yes. I mean, it's you can't drive through the GRA. And I think that this is one big issue that Governor Okpebholo must tackle very, very seriously. Even his counterpart in Delta is the same. We have the same template, really. It's just that Delta is more coastal than Edo State. But it's the same problem. It's the same problem of flooding, of a high tide and things like that, yes.
All right. With this, we will move over. Just yesterday, the Supreme Court passed a verdict, final judgment, according to what one of my friends said. Yes, final judgment, no other place to go. And that is confirming Governor Monday Okpebholo as the #1 citizen of Edo State. What's your take on this? Were you expecting any different kind of judgment?
Well, the tribunal gave it to Okpebholo. The appeal court also gave it to him. It will have been a miracle it happens maybe once in a long, long while, okay, where the Supreme Court will overturn the decisions of the two lower courts, the tribunal and the Court of Appeal. So I wasn't really surprised. And that's why you imagine that there was so much calm in Edo State, for instance. There was calm, and people were going about their normal duties. There were no protests. There was no uprising. One is happy about that because it could just have been otherwise. But I have always said that electoral processes must not end in the courts. Okay, I've always held on to that. I look forward to a day, and this is talking seriously, I look forward to a day when the combatants will shake hands across the table, across the divide, after the election. That does not happen regularly in this country. Okay, just like Jonathan did against Buhari. Yes, even before the election was concluded, he took up his phone and called him. Congratulations. That's what it is. That's what the electoral process should be. But here, you can tell now how much of governance was lost within this period. I can tell you that, and it happens to any sitting governor, by the way, when you have a case in court, the tribunal, the Court of Appeal, and then the Supreme Court, you can't be settled. I mean, you're just being human. You cannot be yourself because you never can tell what the outcome will be. But I look forward to the day when, after the election, the combatants will shake hands. Oh, yes, we'll see again some other time. That's the beauty of democracy. But how can that happen when INEC, for instance, well, and people have talked about this, INEC must be on top of its game. There must be no hitches. Okay? And there must be no encumbrances down the line. So that at the end of the day, we have a seamless electoral process and people will be happy. I say all the combatants because there is only one winner and there are many losers. For example, all the losers should be able to tell the winner, oh, you've done very well. We've learned one or two things on what you have done. Maybe our campaign strategies were wrong and things like that. You know, they throw banters across and you wait for another 4 years. But now you almost spend 1 year in the courts just because you want to do justice to your mandate. Another thing is this, and I'm happy that the National Assembly is toying with that already. Now, what we have seen in this country is that after the election, the governor, whoever won, will be sworn in. Okay? He sits pretty as the chief executive. The other party goes to court. All right? People are saying that, look, let all the litigations be concluded. We know that, yes, this man has won through the court system, and then he's sworn in officially. It becomes more authentic. It even becomes more robust, for example. Because, again, I'll tell you, the man who is the governor does not spend much on litigations. And that's the truth. It's the plain truth. It is the opponents that spend more of their money, and they're the ones challenging. So we must look at all these rough edges and be able to say, no, enough is enough. Let's look at it more appropriately. However, I'm happy that the two people involved in this contest, the two major people, Governor Okpebholo and Aso Ighodalo, have spoken loud and clear. Let us get clips from what they say. I mean, look at an excerpt from what Ighodalo said. We are neither a fearful nor a broken people. We may be wounded, but all wounds heal. I mean, that is beautiful. It's really beautiful. It was an excerpt we took from his speech, okay? After the judgment from the Supreme Court. Let's look at the other side of the coin from Governor Okpebholo. Let this victory ignite a new era of unity, dialogue, and impact-driven governance. Let us choose collaboration over conflict, vision over vendetta, and service over self. Beautiful speech coming from somebody like him. Beautiful. And I want to applaud both of them. I think they should lift up the olive branch and we talk about peace. I look forward to a time where even Governor Okpebholo will tell his opponent, his major opponent, Ighodalo, please come, let us have lunch together or something. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I was chief press secretary in Edo State, for example, and Governor Yegude threw the door open to Lucky Benedion, please come, let us embrace. That's what it is. That's democracy. That is nation building, for example. And I think that it is not too late for the governor to do that. There should be a template for other states. Okay. For example, not just Edo State, should be a template for other states to follow. Okay?
Some schools of thought have come out with the idea that there is not an all-encompassing form of government, like ASWEDA having to be the loser. How come it's not possible for Okpebholo to call anybody from the PDP to be a member of his cabinet?
Well, that's the ideal. That's the ideal. But I'm happy that he talked about unity, dialogue. But he should walk the talk. Yes, it's not just enough to trumpet it. For example, if I were him, I would extend fellowship to people on the other side. There are good people in virtually all the political parties. And I'm talking even about the federal government, for example. There are good people in all the political parties. The leader should be able to fish them out. It could be technocrats. They may not necessarily be politicians. I think that's the mistake we make in this country. They may not necessarily be politicians. They are good technocrats who can drive the system. Bring them on board and tell them that, yes, this is a government of purpose, a government of unity. Because it's unity we are talking about in this country. And nation building is all about dialogue, it's all about unity, it's all about building consensus and things like that. So that's a lesson for us all.
Well, if you remember, the Senate President actually congratulated Okpebholo as regards his victory. Other congratulatory messages, yes, have been coming in. But there was something that the Senate President actually said. He said in his past 7 months in office that he's been doing creditably well. I hope I would not be touching a soft spot if I say rate his government for now.
I don't want to go into that area at all. I mean,
Okay.
to politicize things. No, I mean, we must stay neutral.
Definitely.
Let us observe things ourselves. Okay, that's the duty of every media house. Okay, because politicians are politicians in this country. All right, so let's not talk about that. All right, from our own position. But I want to say that there's a whole host of responsibilities that Governor Okpebholo has to look at. Okay, particularly in the area of infrastructure, roads, for example. Yes, we have to look at that, and it's a common thing around the country. Let's be serious. We must. I've written books on leadership. One of the things that drive leadership is compassion. If the people want water, give them water, and their needs are very little, really. And now I think, from point of advisory, I think the governor should listen more to criticisms, objective criticisms, rather than people around him who want to say what he wants to hear. Okay? Objective criticisms, if you have something new that you want to tell the government, bring it to the table. It's not enough to criticize, but to offer proper solutions to some problems.
All right. Another trending issue. We've always talked, especially on this station, as regards the issue of security. Security, as in providing security in this country. The level of insecurity presently is something else. Let us go down to still the Punch newspapers. Gunmen abduct 2 palace officials, burn houses in Plateau. We'll tie this to troops kill 24 terrorists in Borno, repel Kebbi bandits. It brings me to a question. If we remember, in times past, the palace was a kind of no-go area. It was a secret place. But now you can get that story. Officials have even been abducted. What is your take on that?
Well, my take is a normal thing. I mean, we must up our game when it comes to the issues of security. Yeah, but I'm happy that our military, they're on top of their game now. They've taken out some bandits, and that exists. Okay, but to go into the palace, that tells a different story altogether. The burn houses, I don't know what the problems are within that, the Benue and Plateau area. I really don't know, because only recently, you remember what Plateau experienced, and Benue, and there used to be one state, Benue Plateau. Now they have been divided, and here the problem persists. That's the full basket of the nation, by the way. And that's why tomatoes and things are getting more and more expensive in the open market. Because all these things used to come from there, tomatoes, potatoes, onions and things like that. But the farmers are no longer going to their farms. So the first thing for government to do is to tackle the issue of insecurity. Because you see, when you have food shortages, then it's like sitting on a keg of gunpowder. when there is hunger, when there is deprivation, you really can't determine what the end will be. So, but I imagine that military men were doing very well now. They're on top of the situation. We must applaud them. We must applaud them very seriously. They've taken out, in the last few weeks, they've taken out a lot of these bandits. But there is much resilience. So they must also look at the issue of surveillance and intelligence network. I've said it repeatedly on this station. The kind of war we are fighting with the bandits is such that we can win more level grounds or more grounds if we go into the area of intelligence. Before they even strike, we get them down. Because I've said it. These people up north, they look like people from Niger and all that. You can't tell the difference. But intelligence can help you into being able to determine who is who. And that's where the real problem lies. So, but I'm happy that our military is doing very well now. They need to do more, really. Area reconnaissance, on the ground forces should be more in terms of deployment to some of these areas. I believe that, yes, they can do much more. And I believe that, yes, they have the capability to take out the bandits if they are serious about it.
All right, just before we go, this is a final question. For any time there are these aerial attacks as regards the terrorist organizations, there are always civilian casualties. And so what happens? Is it a sign of incompetence on the part of the military?
No, sometimes you have mistakes, human errors and things like that, but I believe it's less now. We had it too repeatedly some time ago when it's like some kind of collateral damage, for example. But yes, on each occasion, the military came out to apologize very profusely. And I think they pay some compensation to the families of the victims. I just believe that, yes, this thing shouldn't happen. There must be coordinated efforts between the ground forces and the airmen. So I pray very seriously that such will not happen again. We are praying that rather than even take out civilians, they should concentrate more on taking out the bandits. Yes, all right.
Well, thank you so much for coming. But then, as usual, the CEO has a parting shot.
My parting shot, as usual. Let me talk about something that will amaze a lot of people. I just got in touch with a forum called Memories of Sapele, for instance. These guys, they have a forum, and you talk about the old times in Sapele, for instance. Sapele used to be a safe haven for many Nigerians. Even in the days of Pontu, in those days, Sapele was a good place. It was very serene. It has its natural beauty. So people want to reflect on what is happening to that place. It's been cut off now because of the road to Warri and all that. But I want to say this, and it doesn't apply to just Sapele alone. All our ports, particularly in the Delta areas, should be reactivated. Burutu, for instance, is there. And it's such a beautiful place. Sapele is there. Cocoa is there, for instance. Cocoa is even a natural port, by the way. You don't even need to dredge. It's a natural port. God is so wonderful. But Sapele is the hub. In those days, we used to have AT&P, for example. Companies like Kitani, they have all gone. So these people on this forum, they want to bring the old glory back. And I think it should be replicated in some of these old cities that we have. In Benin, for instance, we have a lot of story to tell. Okay? In Enugu and all that. But Sapele is taking up the challenge because it's an old place. I've just been told that the golf course in Sapele, for instance, is about the oldest in West Africa. All right? So, but Sapele is down. A few years ago, I don't know if that problem is still there. Power outage was horrible in Sapele. People, ladies went almost naked because they didn't have power for such a long time. And yet we have Ogorode, which is just at their backyard. So I think that this kind of forum should be replicated. Yes, in many of our historical cities. And there are many across Asaba, for instance. A lot of stories around them. I was very excited when I got in. Fact, I said they should even put my name because I have connections there. My wife is from Delta, okay, and she grew up in Sapele, for example. So that is also half of my part. Okay,
Yeah.
so but that's a good thing, and I am sure that this could be replicated somewhere else.
Once again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being on the program. And for you, esteemed viewer, there are no amount of thanks that we'll give to you that will be enough, but then we'll still keep on saying thank you so much. Like I would always say, do not forget to tell your friends and family about Providence Television International. Please stay tuned.